joy, enthusiasm and alacrity, I welcome the spirit of Carlingford into the studio, personified by Frances Taylor.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. How could you not be in a morning like that?
Isn't it wonderful? What's Carlingford like this morning? Tell the people about Carlingford this morning.
The lock. The lock is just so beautiful. Different shades of blue on it, calm, beautiful. You're driving down the lock. How could you not be in good form? Then you hit Newry Canal, of course.
It's beautiful coming up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Beautiful drive.
Shimmering. And the life that's on the canal and the ducks and the wildlife and all the rest of it. And now we've got narrow boats coming onto it. There's a lady bringing an English canal narrow boat over onto the canal. It's all lovely. It's all part of the package that we are.
I always thought a floating restaurant up and down the canal.
That's what she's doing.
Wow,
yeah,
is that right?
That'll
well
be here
done.
on the 15th of August.
Well done. Yeah.
Talking about restaurants, how's the cuisine of Carlingford these days?
Oh, it's just growing and growing and growing. We've a new pizzeria.
Have you the old one? Have you the oyster catcher still?
Yeah, Harry Jordan. Do you remember
Harry
Jordan's? He's
still
under his management.
Is
yeah.
he back there?
Yeah.
Harry took time away, but he's not. Is he personally
No, he's back. He's back. But he's great in that industry. He knows what he's doing. Every Sunday, if you go down to Carneyford, you can go and get fresh oysters from his wee van. You know, the wee small. What do you call them? They're not smart cars. They're these.
Oh yeah.
Two trucks or something.
Yeah,
he serves.
He's there selling oysters.
Yeah.
So oysters in Carlingford on a Sunday. Brown bread and lemon. That's all good. And some paprika. That's the way to do it.
And you have Ma Baker's as well. Ronan, he goes out every Sunday with his cart, his oyster cart, and he serves fresh oysters as well. So, yeah,
and you still have McGee's Bistro.
McGee's Bistro is still thriving.
Thriving there.
Yeah.
And the one up close to the church, the chapel, where you go in, that's a nice one.
On the
there.
court, yeah. You have the Kingfisher.
The Kingfisher is the one I was thinking of.
Yes,
nothing has changed.
Sit in the courtyard out there. It's beautiful, yeah. And they've just changed the menu, I think, this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. No, the Bay Tree, all of them's there. Yeah, all of them's there.
You bring to the wonderment of Carlingford annually at this time of year the Oyster Festival.
Yes.
Now, what are we going to have in the Oyster Festival?
It's family. It's family for the last, since we reintroduced it about 8 years ago. It's really family orientated, and every year it gets better and better for the family. So we've got magicians and dance workshops and crab fishing competition. The World Crab Fishing Competition will be taking place.
Wow.
We've got the welly hunt on the shore, where the kids go out in their wellies and search under the stones and
see what they can get.
See what they can get.
And there's a host of life, of marine life there on the
but
shore.
But they're learning, you see, they're learning about the sea life then the whole time. So, excuse me, live music on the streets, but that's only during the day. We have the oyster eating competition for the adults.
Wow.
And that's always great fun.
How many oysters would a human being in that situation of competition consume?
I did it one year. I was there one year watching them. I think maybe 30 oysters in a minute. And it was coming down his shirt, and it was serious competition.
They were flying at it.
Oh, they were really going at it now, yeah. So it's very funny. And then you have in the evening in the Four Seasons Hotel, we'll have the oyster opening competition. So all the chefs come out from the restaurants, and they go over and they compete who can open the most oysters. Yeah. Morgan's Fine Fish, who sponsor the Oyster Festival, usually win it. They're the reigning champions.
I did a television program with Morgans. I did a nationwide with them because there's something like 5 generations all there working together. But they have the most magnificent smoked salmon on the island of Ireland.
Really?
Yeah, they go out in the morning and they take the salmon over from Donegal, and it's farmed salmon, but it's in the sense of the salmon are in an entire estuary. They have plenty of room to move around.
Okay.
They bring them over, and then the stuff is smoked in Omeath, up on the hillside overlooking the loch.
People come from everywhere to that fish shop.
It's great.
In Omeath,
huge people.
Yeah.
Huge.
So they sponsor the Oyster Festival, and we're very thankful for that. Yeah, we're not running the Oyster Pearl competition this year, so the reigning Oyster Pearl is a local girl actually this year, Michelle McGrath, so she'll be around as well doing the teddy bears picnic and things like that with children. Yeah,
I'm bound to ask you, when we talk about Carlingford, I'm bound to ask you, and I'm almost afraid that I mightn't ask it in the right way, because I could suffer the ire of, the anger of the little people. Talk to me about the Carlingford leprechaun.
They're still there. They're still there. 236 of them are still there. We do the hunt, as you know, in March, the leprechaun hunt.
I do.
But since we got them protected under the EU, under the Habitats Directive under the EU. They're living happily up there. I know a lot of people laugh and smile and grin when we say that, but we know that they're still there.
Still there.
Yeah.
I think the President of Ireland, is he related to them in some way? Because there's great facial similarity. There's a happiness in his demeanour.
Rowan, we're all related to them. They're the spirits of Ireland.
But no, you know as well as I know,
We're all
there are
related to
some
them.
very grumpy people around. And there are no grumpy leprechauns, or are there?
I haven't got the gift of actually meeting them. I've read the book, The Last Leprechauns of Ireland.
That was done by a Carlingford man.
Yeah, the Leprechaun Whisperer. Hamish and Andy, they're two very famous journalists, I believe, in Australia. They came and did a show, or a programme. They toured Ireland and they wanted to come and meet the leprechauns with Kevin Woods, who wrote the book. And they probably branded him the Leprechaun Whisperer. And he has the gift of speaking to them. And what the leprechauns have said to him, he has written in a book. And that's available for anybody to buy on Amazon or locally in Carneyford and some bookshops in Dublin. So, but he's also writing a children's series now for children to be able to understand the story of how the coins were found on the mountain by P.J. O'Hare.
God rest him.
Yeah, how we went and got them protected under the EU 20 years later. So yeah, that's all written down now, which is very comforting.
But you see, it has come good. It's only foolish people who would decry the leprechauns, because we know so very little about past things through the mists of time. And we would say, oh no, we can't possibly be leprechauns. I rather say it's entirely possible there are leprechauns, and I would say, dip my salute in their direction all the time, because they bring good fortune.
Well, I believe it's a lot to do with the luck of the Irish. You know, I know it's very, I suppose, cliche, but it came from somewhere. It came from somewhere. It's our folklore. It's the same as folklore in any other country. We don't know whether it's true or not, but it's a bit like Santa Claus. If you believe, it's real.
Very much so. I think it's hugely important to so do. Yeah.
It came from somewhere.
Now,
so
when is the Oyster Festival?
The Oyster Festival is from Friday the 8th of August until Monday the 11th of August. So yeah, it's going to be a great 3-4 days. It's, you know, the last day is the local night. They used to do it like, we had the Carneyford Oyster Festival. It was introduced way before my time. Well, I suppose I was about 13, maybe 12 or 13. And it was introduced to put Carneyford on the map. It was a very quiet little small town, very few restaurants, very few hotels. And they did it to promote, because these events are promotional tools.
I remember Carlingford. It was just a dead house on a Sunday. All week it was a dead house. Then came Sunday, and there was a pall of grey came across the place.
Yeah.
And you looked and you said, well, where can I go for a cup of tea? It was impossible to get a cup of tea.
I know.
But now, 40 years later, down the road, look what's happened. You're vibrant, you're healthy, you're good, you're outreaching to the world, you're making it a happy place for our historic leprechauns, you're bringing in new people. Restaurateuring is top of the bracket. It's great stuff.
Well, yeah. We modelled ourselves in Kinsale, and we're called the Kinsale of the North. But I would think that we're nearly exceeding.
Okay, you've exceeded. I was in Kinsale 2 years ago, and it's quite ordinary these days. Carlingford is beyond Kinsale now. You've done it.
We've just opened our 3rd pizzeria, and that's in the middle of recession time.
3rd pizzeria.
Yeah. So, you know, the eating out, you know, in Fitzpatrick's, which is only 7 miles out.
My cousin.
Is that right?
Danny is my cousin.
Well, he's the seafood chowder champion of Ireland. He won that this year. So
I'm going to get him in here. We'll get Danny in here to talk about that.
So come to the Oyster Festival. You'll be able to taste Danny's famous chowder as well. He's going to be serving it there at the festival as well. Good. The Carneyford Oyster Company will be sponsoring a lot of the oysters. You'll be tasting at the festival.
Is that Peter Lewittweiser?
It's his son.
His son,
Cian and Charm.
They're lovely people.
Lovely gentlemen.
Do you know the history of them coming into the loch?
On a catamaran, am I right?
Yeah, I remember. I welcomed them. They came
really?
They came in on a catamaran.
So any
it
wonder
was
they
Peter
stayed.
and Anna and half a dozen chickens on board, and no children at that time. No. And I said, "Hello, how are you?" And she was called. She came in. The catamaran came in. I think she was called Moody May, and he tied up there. And lo and behold, they stayed. And Peter got interested in the oyster farming. Anna was a doctor in the hospital in Newry, and Peter was a teacher. He taught in schools in Newry. And then they decided one day, oh, we're going to dedicate our lives to our simplicity of existence in Carlingford. They went to Carlingford.
I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I remember as a child, because they were, you know, when you're any, like what you said now, Carlingford's so full of you know, just every nationality, whereas then if there was one strange person, everybody knew about them. So I remember, and people thinking it was,
Look at the size of him. He said,
Yeah.
oh,
he's still the same. The guy
Yes,
never ages.
oh.
Yeah, he never ages. Yeah.
He's a Dutchman.
But it's all these people that made Carlingford the destination
Absolutely.
that it is.
And the house, you know, there's a continuum there, because the house that Peter and Anna went into when they arrived is the house they live in today.
That's right.
It's wonderful.
That's right. And the Oyster Farm is thriving, and you'll see it on the menus in London. But the difference in the Oyster Farm in Carlingford, there's no middleman. Their oysters go directly from the shore to that restaurant.
And you can go down.
Yeah.
You can go down and go into the farm, and they'll sell you oysters there and then.
Oh, yeah.
And if you had low tide, people should have a look at it. At low tide, if you look from Carlingford out towards Greenore, you will see the almost paddy fields of baskets that hold the fledgling oysters growing by the day, growing.
Yeah, it is.
It
is brilliant. And as I said, today the loch is looking fantastic. And we're building our greenway, our coastal path.
When is that due to come?
It's due to open this month. It's due to open
now,
this
the greenway goes from Carlingford north to
Omeath.
Omeath. Now, does it end at Omeath?
At the moment,
yeah.
It's phase one. The overall vision was a county coastal path, but we said we'd start with the first phase. The landowners have been brilliant, very cooperative, and let us go right through their land, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And we're hoping that Newry and Mourne will pick it up, so we can do a loch one.
Well, we have the middle bank.
That's right.
There's a perfect in between the canal and the river as a linear park.
Be amazing.
Let people walk along there, cycle along there, and whatever, you know.
Well, as far as I know, they're considering it. So hopefully, these things. You know, I've listened to a coastal path for 20 years, and then and then you just go and ask the landowners, and they say yes. Sometimes you think, you know, things can't be done. Yeah, things can't be done.
But when you go and ask, it sorts out.
So we're hoping Enda Kenny will be down. Again, he was here for our latest news tourism product, was the Sky Park. It opened a few weeks ago.
Enda Kenny. He's the fellow who said no to the Narrowwater Bridge.
And no to Garth Brooks.
And no to Garth Brooks.
And he's saying yes.
And yes to abortion. And that's my hobby horse.
Really?
So I've little time for Mr. Kenny.
Okay.
And the people of Warren Point have little time for him, because his government, they feel he's let them down. He has said to them, yes, well, yeah, we're behind. And when push came to shove, there's no money for the bridge.
Okay.
But we're moving onward.
But I think there's some Interreg funding coming up, I believe.
No, but the Irish government within, I think it's Donoghue, his name is, the minister with responsibility, he said, no, we have no money, we're not backing it. Full stop. Within the last 2 weeks.
Well, I probably will make myself very, very unpopular now, but I believe that a loch coastal path would make more of a difference to this area than a bridge.
But you don't need to be popular. You just need to be right.
It
was always the case with women. They don't need to be popular. They need to be right.
That's true, yeah.
And you're there.
Well,
but the coastal path is easy peasy. It's happening. And you've made it happen.
It's happening. Well, you know, to take it right around the loch, it would be a lot of cooperation, a lot of work, and a lot of community effort. You know, like everything that's going to be ever successful, you need the community behind it.
Have you heard the story? Have you heard the story of the hidden city of Carlingford beneath the waves of the loch?
Yes, yes.
Do you know that 50 years ago there was an aerial photograph taken, and it showed the outline, it seemed, of some kind of castellation and building. That's what was said. And then, of course, within the last fortnight, there was a great story in the Irish press showing a photograph of a tornado in a loch down in Clare. And they were all going, wow, Ireland's been hit by a tornado. They never heard of the Carlingford kettles, which you've heard of.
Yes, I have.
Those, the willy was, when the wind from the west, no, the wind from the sea, from the east comes, wow, charging in, flashes around the mount, blah, 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 funneled down into the loch, and you have your columns of water coming up.
Oh, I've never seen them.
It's an adventure
I've
place.
heard of them.
Oh, yeah.
Have you
I've
seen them?
Oh,
Have you been
yes.
on a boat?
Yeah, I've seen
No
them
way.
on a boat. I've seen them, surely.
Scary.
In the wintertime, you will see them. They're not great tornadoes. They're maybe about 20, 30 feet high.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
whipped up, water whipped up by the ferocious winds. You were pleased to see the Saga Pearl come in?
Yeah.
That lovely boat.
Yes.
The cruise liner. They're going to come back.
Congratulations to Warren
Did you
Point.
get
Well
any,
done.
just as a point of interest, did any of the excursions that went out by road from the Saga Pearl, did they go to Carlingford? I think they did.
I believe they did.
Yes, they did.
I
I
believe
think
they
so,
did,
yeah.
But Ron, this is what I say, you know, we're such a small, Ireland is such a small dot in the edge of the world. You know, Carlingford, Warren Point, forget it, you know, we're a speck. So it's until we get together and be a destination, become one destination,
Yeah.
which I think, again, I'm going back to the coastal path, but it tangibly links us as
Yeah.
one area.
Absolutely.
And until we get together and work together, we're never going to make as big an impact as we can.
Yeah,
We have
absolutely.
huge potential here, absolutely huge potential.
Yeah, but I mean, you're thinking the right way now, your people, and you. You're seeing it as an entity,
A region, yeah. we
and you're
have-
running all the way from the Boyne Valley,
Yes,
right across the Newry and Mourne and Down council area to Strangford Lough.
yes.
So it's from the
Yes.
Boyne to the head of Strangford Lough at Newton
That's
House.
right.
Wow. It's huge.
And we're in an area that we're sitting on the border, so each tourism authority doesn't know what to do with us. Because, you know, to be honestly, Fáilte Ireland, it stops at the Boyne. I'm not sure about Northern Ireland Tourist Board. I know that the Mourns are one of their signature projects. I think that finished in 2020. But, you know, it's until we get together, and we have to do it ourselves. We can't wait for
No.
these, you know,
But you've
authorities
always
to
done
do
it
it.
for yourselves.
Yeah, but we have to start extending
Yeah,
ourselves.
but nobody made the difference that we have noted here today from a grey Sunday 40 odd years ago to a vibrant Carlingford. Nobody came in and did it for you. Carlingford people did it.
That's right.
Which is the great
That's
thing
right.
there.
That's
Yeah.
right. And there's fantastic people around the loch, like yourself and Warren Point. There's loads of great people over there doing great stuff. And you know, and then there's Omeath and there's Newry in the middle of it. You know, and Newry's becoming so cosmopolitan.
Absolutely. One
It
of the worries I had with the bridge when it was proposed, that it could well have taken that tourist swathe coming from the Boyne to Strangford, bypass Newry. Because why would you go into Newry if you've got a bridge across the Narrows, and then that bridge takes you around the coastal route, Kilkeel and round to Newcastle and on right round to Ardglass and up to... There was a danger, I thought, and no one ever said this at the time, there was a danger that the bridge would have made a metropolis of Warren Point, but made a backwater of Newry.
Well, I'm sure a lot of Newry people might have felt it at the time, you know, but maybe weren't as loud or as vocal, or maybe. But I would have definitely felt it. I thought, you know, because Newry has got great
Yeah,
characteristics
but Newry has
and
to
a
be
lot to offer.
has to be
Yeah.
a commercial jewel in the crown that you speak of.
Absolutely.
That people they have the lovely softness, if you like, of the coastal path of
And the
Carlingford,
quaintness,
Omeath, and over to Warren Point, blah blah blah. They have all of that, but Newry is in there with the hard edge of good value.
That's right.
People can go shopping. People
That's
can.
right.
We have so many lovely shops. Oh, that's there.
And great restaurants opening up in Newry
Yeah,
as well, and
absolutely.
eating places and coffee places, and so yeah, we need it all. We
Yeah.
need it all. We need the size of the Canal Court. We need hotels like
Yeah.
that as well. So yeah, and then with the Greenore Ferry,
Yes, indeed.
hopefully
So good.
next year
Yeah.
we can do a complete loop.
Absolutely.
A complete loop.
What are you seeing in terms of the economy? Are you finding a resurgence, greater disposable income? Are people coming more and more to Carlingford?
I think our numbers have increased and they continue to increase, which is brilliant in this day and age. The spend wouldn't be as great, but because the numbers are greater, it's still they're maintaining
Yeah.
it.
You see, people
Galahad
under
become-
pressure need a release valve. Carlingford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's only an hour down the road from Dublin, an hour down the road from Belfast, and you can't. That's priceless.
Absolutely.
People's time is priceless.
Absolutely.
You don't
I can
want to be
suggest
spending
to you.
hours
I
on
can
that.
suggest to you a wonderful new activity for Carlingford.
Oh, great.
It's called Shoot a Hen. Take your hen parties, loose them off on the mountain, and send a safari out to remove them from the face of the earth. Why do women go on so absolutely bloody madly? It's crazy. You see it all
Is
over
it just
the country.
women, do you think? Is it?
I don't
is
think it
just
is. It
women?
can't be. But there's some madness enters the head. They dress up foolishly.
Mm-hmm.
They sound ridiculous, and they're out not making any sense at all. It's maybe just a wild, guttural, feminine roar, the last roar of freedom before being encapsulated in the cloak of matrimony.
I don't know. I think a gang of girls, you know, we just have such good crack. We just have, I don't
What
think...
you really need to say is, shut up, Rowan, you're 70.
No, I
That's
don't.
the better thing
no,
to say.
I think that I think men are fascinated about what a gang of women do.
No,
I
you're
think they
using
are.
the
We
wrong
just
word.
are
No,
so happy.
entirely the
As
wrong
we
word.
have
The
such-
word you meant to use was frightened, not fascinated. You see this
Sure.
this tranche of women coming
I
out.
was speaking to Garrett Mallon, who's a designer,
Yeah.
a jewellery designer, yesterday. He's just opened the design house in Carneyford. Oh my goodness, the work,
Really?
the
Is he
design work
designing
that's
the
in
stuff
there.
himself?
He does jewellery. He does jewellery.
And where's he making it?
In his workshop, he's just opened. The
Carlingford?
workshop is in the back of the design house. It's in Newry Street. It's across from the Garda station.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
beside the new
yeah.
tea rooms, Ruby Ellen tea rooms, which is beautiful. If you haven't been there, Rowan, you'll
I'm
love
going to
it.
Carlingford again. I haven't been in
Yeah.
Carlingford in 10
Oh,
years.
you need to visit these new places. The new tea rooms are fabulous.
Yeah.
It's like it's beautiful. So then beside that is the design house. And he is offering activities for hen parties, like making, you know, ceramic bowls and decorating them, making maybe a charm for a bracelet as a memory of their hen party. Gorgeous
What a clever
things.
lad.
Yeah,
He's a
taking them
clever
out of
lad.
costumes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Taking
yeah.
them out of taking off the.
But really and truly, there
floppy
is
ears.
the picture you paint. It's an accurate picture, first of all,
Yeah.
and secondly, it's a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
Because I just get the sense of bubbling happiness coming up through the core of the earth, and bubbling happiness then spreads in a place called Carlingford.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. There's a magic
Right.
there.
There's a magnetic energy, they say, on the peninsula.
Mm.
And I know we all talk about Carneyford, but when you go to Omeath and you're walking along the shores there,
Mm.
and you know your kids are playing on just that wee bit of sand,
Mm.
that Lorcan Mulligan, who owns the shop, he made that beach sand. Every year he took a lorry full of sand, paid for it, and dumped it on the beach so the kids could play. And now you have a man-made sand beach.
Yeah.
And my wee boy is 7, since he was 2 years old. Every day during the summer, he goes
He's
down
there.
there, and he's still there at 7.
But you use a name there. This is again what it's about. Lorcan Mulligan. Sure, Mulligan has been there since Adam was a boy.
I know.
In Omeath.
That's right.
It's that connectivity with the wonderment of our past.
But I love that about Omeath. It's traditional still. Carneyford has become contemporary.
Yes, it
and it's
has.
a beautiful, buzzy place to go. But then, you know, 2 minutes down the road, you've got Omeath with the ferry going over and back. You've got the Grandview House Hotel. You've got Rose's Cafe. You've got, you know, the vegetable shop Phillips in
Yeah.
Newry have opened down there.
In Carlingford?
In Omeath.
In Omeath with the
In
same
Omeath.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, you've still got Mulligans there with the buckets and spades. It's still traditional Ireland, and we can't forget that.
Wow.
And the
Traditional
landscape.
Ireland.
And the landscape.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so very, very
Yeah.
good. Now, the marina's still there.
The marina has opened up again, the restaurant, and there's a coffee shop down there
And the
opened
girl
up.
who's running the coffee shop also ran the laundry.
That's right.
What's her
That's
name?
right, Janice Murphy.
Janice
But I
Murphy.
think it's actually your daughter.
Great people.
A new generation entering the industry.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the development of tourism, and you know, you have to leave yourself open-minded to the amount of economic value that we get. Like our employment, all our locals can be employed locally now. All our natives can be employed in the industry. So it's great. It's great that they don't have to travel.
I'm bound to say, the economic past
Yeah.
is a foreign land which we don't want to go back to.
Don't think we will.
No.
I
No-
don't think
no
we will.
question of it.
No.
You've been very kind. You've come in. You've given us a lot of your time. And thank you.
Thank you for asking me.
And remind the people again, the Oyster Festival.
Yes, our next event is the Carneyford Oyster Festival, Friday the 8th unto Monday the 11th of August.
Okay.
And we hope to see you all there. Loads of live music, street markets, children's entertainment. So
The champion
oysters,
chowder of
course.
Ireland.
Yeah,
From Danny.
plenty of good food
Absolutely.
and crack.
So listen to me, well done and congratulations. And go well, as they say in Africa, go well.
Thank you, Ron. You too.
And also you have every weekend down there, not just, you don't have, every weekend's a festival weekend in Carlingford, in its own way.
Do you know, I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Last weekend when I drove through, I thought, this is the Oyster Festivals we had 20 years ago. That was it just looked like that. It looks like that every Sunday. Every Sunday now it looks. But people are enjoying themselves, don't get me wrong, there's no craziness, just people are enjoying themselves.
There's a loveliness
and then at
to
the end of the month we have Heritage Week. And we always celebrate Irish Wall Towns Day because Carlingford was a wall town.
Yes, of course.
And on that day, Sunday the 31st, we will have medieval games.
Medieval. I remember doing a beautiful, beautiful nationwide programme on the medieval week that the people spent in the castle, Taft's Castle.
Yeah.
There they were. And they were sleeping in the castle. They had their own tents. It was all medieval costume and medieval ways. They were they were bartering in the village to get a rabbit, to get meat, to get something, to get vegetables. They were cooking it there. It was a great week, that. It was a huge
We might
week.
do it again. It was a lot of work, but the locals loved it. But yeah, it was a once-off for the anniversary of King John's Castle.
It was great.
Yeah,
That should
we
be done
might do it again.
It should
We
be
might
done
do it
again.
Yeah. Put
then-
you in it next time, Rowan.
Well, no, we had a better idea for me, actually, because I was talking to Kevin Woods, and I was involved in Africa, building schools in my part of Africa. And what we were going to do, we were going to create on the top of Foy, a stone, whatever they're called, a beehive, monastic stone hut, and Kevin had the name for it. And we were trying to get involved with the Mooney programme in RTE and the Lions Clubs of Ireland, and that I would spend a month in this beehive monastic cave on top of the mountain, and I would be visited by the miracle of the webcam that would come and would see what I'm doing and blah, 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 and that I would be sponsored here by the Lions Clubs of Ireland, who would then, that money would then go to build my schools in Africa. And we almost pulled it off, but it just didn't. We fell at the last post. And Kevin's idea was that the various walking clubs and walking groups and all the rest would come on the mountain and create the edifice that I would live in. So I wouldn't be fussed in living in a castle with lots of people. I'd be enormously attracted to living on my own on the top of Foy, in a stone beehive monastic.
No idea ever dies.
No idea ever dies. I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Ron.
That's Carlingford forever.
Yes.
And that's Francis Taylor. Thank you very much indeed. I suppose I really should sign off now because we're at the end of the programme.